It's absolutely apocalyptic. Gaza is destroyed beyond recognition. There is no real functioning critical infrastructure remaining. Hospitals are barely functioning. Many hospitals are out of commission. There's nothing left of Gaza to destroy. They're basically, what they're bombing is rubble already, and they're just bombing people. They're killing as many people as possible, and they're basically trying with this ground operation now is to make sure that there's no hope of reconstructing any of it. That's what they're doing right now, is just to make reconstruction so impossible that Palestinians will just leave. That's it. No effectiveness whatsoever. Just to put it in perspective, during the truce, they were bringing in 500 to 600 trucks a day, and that wasn't enough. Some experts estimate that what you need is really 1,000 trucks a day. So here you have a situation that has gotten even worse since the truce, that brief ceasefire, and you need 600 to 1,000 trucks, and they let in 5. This is a complete stunt. Even if they let in the 100 that they're promising to let in now, that's not enough. And it's not just about the quantity of trucks being let in, but the quantity of the quality of the aid is also important. Here we have a situation where since early March, Israel has imposed a total blockade. Not a drop of water, food, medicine, fuel, nothing has been allowed into Gaza. You have to understand, Gaza is entirely destroyed. There's no critical infrastructure still functioning. So it's happening within that context. And now you have famine and malnutrition across the board. At least 53 children have died as a result of starvation since the total blockade in early March. A UN humanitarian official said today that approximately 14,000 children are at risk of death if they are not given necessary treatment for malnutrition in the next 48 hours. So the type of aid that needs to be allowed in, has to specifically address the problem of malnutrition. It's not just when children are going through malnutrition, you can't just say, oh, here's some flour, have a piece of pita bread and that'll fix it. You need specific kinds of aid to come in as well to deal with this problem of mass famine and malnutrition, especially among children. So Finance Minister Smotrich was on record yesterday, supported by Netanyahu, saying that this was just a political stunt to keep the international community off their backs. It's not serious, and we need a total lifting of the siege on Gaza, an immediate cessation of attacks, and allowing unlimited amounts of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. You can't look at the allowing of 5 trucks of aid, even if it's 100. You can't look at that as somehow contradictory to what they're doing. It's nothing. It's not doing anything. So it's a purely political stunt. Their goal is to continue on this genocidal operation until the Palestinians are expelled from Gaza and Israel occupies large chunks of it and permanently colonizes it. That's their goal. So these are not contradictory aims. They view that trickle, I don't even know if trickle is strong enough of a word to call what they let in. But that trickle of aid, they use it to basically just get international actors off their back so that they continue with the indiscriminate bombing, destruction of Gaza. They basically want to make life so impossible for Palestinians there that they are either forcibly leave or they get killed if they remain. And this whole, Trump, Netanyahu plan to create a different aid infrastructure and so on is also part and parcel of this strategy. They're trying to basically concentrate people in specific areas in Gaza as they chase the aid given out by the Americans and the Israelis, which will be very minimal aid. but it would move people from large areas of Gaza to chase that aid, and then Israel would come in and take over those lands and declare it theirs. That's ultimately their goal. That is their plan. Whether it succeeds or not is another matter, but that is their plan. They have complete support of the United States. The United States is allowing them to do all of this. And basically telling them, forget the international community, let them condemn you, but they won't dare to do anything. And you have a green light from us. Trump is still on record as saying that he supports the idea of quote unquote emptying out Gaza, of colonizing Gaza, and moving Palestinians from Gaza into other countries. We know that there's been reports that they've reached out to Libya. We know that they've reached out to Egypt before. They're saying that we were reaching out to many other countries to see if they will take in all of the Palestinian refugees to permanently displace them from Gaza, never allowing them to return. That's the Trump-Netanyahu plan. That is still the plan that they're trying to operationalize in this action. And the international community has not done enough to make the Israelis change their calculation. The Israelis continue to see that their trade relations are operating business as usual. In fact, they're growing in some places. They're still getting weapons from the US and Germany and elsewhere, the UK. So they're thinking, well, why would we stop? There's a few words of condemnation, but there's no real action. Let's see if those countries finally do some real substantive action and place sanctions on Israel. I'll wait to see what the UK Prime Minister Starmer said, that they're going to release a detailed response today. Let's see. I'm not holding my breath, but let's see what they come up with before I say anything about that. But that is what is needed. What is needed are the Israeli state has to suffer economic sanctions. If they don't, then they will just assume that we're okay to keep doing what we're doing with the full support of the United States. I mean, it's absolutely apocalyptic. Gaza is destroyed beyond recognition. There's no real functioning critical infrastructure remaining. Hospitals are barely functioning. Many hospitals are out of commission. There's nothing left of Gaza to destroy. They're basically, what they're bombing is rubble already, and they're just bombing people. They're killing as many people as possible. And they're basically trying with this ground operation now is to make sure that there's no hope of reconstructing any of it. That's what they're doing right now, is just to make reconstruction so impossible that Palestinians will just leave. That's it. They're destroyed. They've destroyed everything, and they want to destroy it even more, so that there's not just no longer any functioning infrastructure, but that even the hope of reconstructing it is erased from the minds of Palestinians, and that's what we're witnessing. But it is this is going to go down in history as one of the most brutal genocidal attacks on a people in recorded history. The rest of the world should not be standing idly by, waiting for the US and the UK and France and Canada to take action. The reality of the matter is if that countries from the global south formed coalitions created a collective response to say, we are all cutting ties with Israel. Let's not forget, China, South Africa, Nigeria, Colombia, Morocco, Brazil, Egypt, they all have ongoing trade relations with Israel too. If all those countries got together and said, we are cutting off all our economic relations with Israel today, not just few targeted sanctions, it's a complete severing of all trade, economic, and political and diplomatic relations. And we're going to launch a sustained global campaign to get more countries on our side to do it. If they did that, the genocide would stop within a few days without the need of Europe and the United States. And in fact, it would open the door for those European countries to do their more targeted types of sanctions, because they will say, well, I think these countries are right. It's time to take that kind of concrete action. So I think what should be happening right now is that for the global South to rise up and take a much stronger leadership role on the question of Palestine, because it is also in their self-interest to do so. If the global South is, as they say, sick and tired of US imperial hegemony, of US supremacy in the economic sphere and the military sphere, then now is the time to stand up to the US. Israel and the US are one and the same thing. The project of Israeli settler colonialism is tied to the project of US imperialism and vice versa. So to take a stand against Israel, against Israeli settler colonialism, is a stand against American imperialism, and will send a message to the US that the global South is no longer okay with the status quo, that they're not going to be bullied around by the US any longer, and that they can in fact stand together and form collective responses to these global problems that they're all facing. And Palestine is really at the heart of what many countries in the global South are facing. It represents the American imperial hegemony and the American imperial will to exert its power over the lives of millions of people around the world. They take a stand for Palestine. What they're really doing is taking a stand for themselves. So it's time for the global South to, I'm sorry to say, but wake up, because they have been asleep with just empty rhetoric for many decades now.